Hello, and welcome to the official Growth Lab podcast. My name is Nay, and I'll be your host today. This is a new podcast, and on this podcast, we're going to be talking about self mastery, personal development, and how to grow as a person from the inside out. So, my goal with this podcast is to share everything I know, everything that I learn through my own journey with you guys in the hopes that it will help you at some point in your self-development journey. Now, if you have any questions, any topics that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. As we get this podcast started, it will be on YouTube only, but then as we grow, we will try and make it available on multiple platforms. So I just want to thank you for being here and thank you for listening. Your time is so valuable, and I'm so glad you decided to share it with me. Now, today, we're going to be talking about how to start building healthy habits. And I know when you're on your personal development journey, the concept of habits definitely comes up more than once on your journey. How to build them, how to get rid of bad habits, which habits to start building, habits around a good morning routine, and things like that. And I feel as though for me, when I first started, a lot of those videos can be a little overwhelming or misleading because sometimes they're not always practical. Sometimes you only have 15 minutes in the morning before your day really gets started to really focus on yourself. And so in this podcast episode, I want to talk about how you can start building healthy habits. So first of all, my first tip would be to start small. And when I say start small, I really mean what is the smallest action you can take that will help you get to your ideal habit. So if your ideal habit is to be fit, what is the smallest new habit that you can do, the easiest new habit that you can do that on a long enough time frame, you will actually start to feel healthier and more fit? So for me, when I first started, I decided that the easiest thing I could do was to start off by drinking more water. And as I got in the habit of consciously making myself drink more water throughout the day, then I was able to stack on other habits like moving regularly. So that started with taking daily walks with my dog, making my walks longer than normal, doing an extra walk than I normally would have done. So stuff like that. And as you start to compound those habits and add more habits and stack your habits, then you'll be able to start to go from just drinking water every day to working out regularly. So that's the kind of mind frame that you want to have when you are starting to say, okay, I want to adopt these new habits, but where do I start? You start with the smallest possible thing you can do right now in this moment. So if you want to be healthy, but you don't really have that much time in your day yet, or you feel like everything's a little bit too chaotic, start with drinking more water. Start with switching out one of your typical meals that may be junk food or fast food or unhealthy with something healthier. So that is the first thing that I would recommend to anybody that's looking to start new habits, is to start by starting small. The second thing would be to write out your goals. So if you don't journal, if you're this is the first episode, but I will tell you we're a big fan of journaling here at Growth Lab. So that is always going to be something that I recommend. Journal. But when you journal, write out your goals. And write out your goals in a way that's in present tense, as if it's already happened. So, for instance, if you want to lose weight, you can write out, I am at my ideal weight of whatever your weight is, and I feel healthy, fit, flexible, whatever. So write out your goals in that way, and that helps you internalize it better, but also it gives you a more objective view of your goals. And then as you write out your goals, your brain should already start working on it. You'll already be getting ideas of what you can do, actions you can take to get towards your goals. Now, don't let these ideas just float around in your head. You have to actually do something. You have to actually do what's necessary. So if you want to lose weight and the first idea that comes up is like, okay, I have time, I can go on a 15-minute walk. Go on that 15-minute walk. Don't procrastinate. Don't say I'll do that later, because that's exactly the problem. And that kind of thing is what's gotten you to where you are in your non-ideal current state. So write down all of your goals. If you only think of 5, let those 5 be. I'm sure as you start to work on yourself, you start to grow, you start to take the actions that are necessary. You will come up with more goals. You will refine your goals. You will get more specific with your goals. But right now, today, we're focused on just getting started. So write them all down. And now you have your list of what your goals are in the present tense as if they've already been accomplished. Now that you have that, you're going to select one goal and think about what is one thing you can do right now to move the needle towards that goal. So for me, one of my goals is to have a YouTube channel and podcast that are impacting millions of people positively. And the first thing that I could do to make a step towards that goal is sit and record this podcast right now, which is what I'm doing, which is why we're here. And if the first task to you is too daunting, break it down into smaller tasks. What is one subset of the task that needs to be accomplished that you can do right now? So, like I said with the habits, start small. Just do you want to get started? Do you want to build that momentum? Once you start building that momentum, things will just get easier and easier. So you want to start small with what the habits are that you want to adopt, as well as what action steps need to be taken to reach your goal or to complete a task or whatever. Another tip I have for building healthy habits is to, and this goes along with what I said about starting small with your habits, start to interchange certain things that you do every day. So instead of scrolling on social media for hours and hours and hours on end, you can try reading a book, listening to an audiobook, doing anything like that you wouldn't normally do, but would be a better use of your time. That's another way you can start building good habits, but also using your time better. Because if you're listening to this right now and you're interested in building new habits, growing from the inside out, and becoming the best version of yourself, chances are how you use your time and your time management skills at this moment is a great area that you need to focus on. Either you can track your time. If you would normally be binge watching Netflix, read a book, go for a walk, do some journaling exercise, do some shadow work exercises, anything like that would help you get closer to becoming your ideal version of yourself. That's what you want to focus on. And during this whole process, I cannot stress enough that you need to have compassion for yourself. Give yourself grace. It's not going to be easy to switch over and just become your ideal person overnight. You're going to have to undo a lot of the bad habits that you developed up until this moment. So just give yourself grace as your body, as your brain starts to understand, like, okay, this is what we're not doing these things anymore. We're doing these things. And as you make that change and as you transform, just understand that it is a process. It does take time. But there are things that you can do to help yourself along that transformational process, which are things like, instead of just scrolling on shorts, you can listen to more informational podcasts, listen to more audiobooks if you have time. Just doing things that feed your brain things to help you become a better person. I just want you to focus on that. And if you guys like the things that I brought up in this episode, I can definitely dive more into that later. I wanted to get this podcast going, get started, because I'm really excited. I'll have a video posted on YouTube regarding what's been going on, and you'll be able to see more about where I've been, where I'm at, and where I'm going. But I just want to thank you again for being here. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.